A lot of people have long been frustrated by the high cost of living and lack of jobs in Indonesia. The country currently has the highest unemployment rate among ASEAN nations. More than 7 million people are without work. To add to this, many people have become outraged over what they perceive as excessive pay and perks for Indonesia's members of parliament. These lawmakers earn more than $6,150 a month. That's about 30 times more than the average worker. Their housing allowance alone is $3,030 per month, which is more than 3 times the average rent for a 3-bedroom flat in the center of the capital, Jakarta. Indonesia's House of Representatives has 580 members. So the money allocated for their allowances has contributed to driving up Indonesia's national budget, which is paid for by a range of tax hikes that critics say further squeeze the wallets of the working class. The budget for MPs surged from around $340 million in 2021 to $406 million this year. So while costs for these MPs have gone up, there is a lot of controversy over their legislative output. One example is their revisions to Indonesia's military law, which allocated more civilian posts for military officers. Another is the meetings they held in closed-door sessions at a luxury hotel over a weekend. MPs also passed a job creation law that opponents have criticized as eroding the rights of workers and indigenous people, while also reducing income and weakening environmental protections. And while the MPs passed those bills that were subsequently signed into law, one that the public has been pushing for remains in limbo. That's the asset forfeiture bill, which many believe could help deter corruption and money laundering. It was first proposed in 2008, but for nearly 2 decades and over several administrations, the bill has still not been passed. And so Indonesia remains one of the countries grappling with significant corruptions, according to the NGO Transparency International. Meanwhile, lawmakers often take expensive government-paid trips abroad and post about their lavish lifestyles on social media, visible to everyone in Indonesia. All of this adds up. Many of the protesters feel their demands are being ignored by the MPs who are supposed to represent them. And that's why they are taking to the streets.
Gue jujur, pajak gue bayar semua. Gue taat pajak, sementara orang-orang yang di dalam gedung DPR tidak sama sekali mendengar keluhan rakyatnya sendiri. Gitu ya.
Things turned ugly on August 28. That's when a police vehicle ran over a ride-hailing service driver in Jakarta. Afan Kurniawan was just 21 years old when it was reported hours later that he had died. Protesters attacked the police station. Kurniawan's death touched a nerve in Indonesia, where drivers employed by Gojek and Grab can be seen putting in long hours through rain and heat throughout the country. Police officers were also criticized for using excessive force on protesters.
Itu saya jujur menangis melihat semua berita-berita yang ada. Saya muak, saya marah, semua emosi tercampur dalam diri saya. Saya mau semua yang sudah terjadi, semua dosa-dosa yang sudah dilakukan oleh kepolisian harus ditebus, harus penuh dengan transparansi.
Both Jakarta's police chief and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto apologized for the incident. Prabowo even visited Kurniawan's home. 7 officers were found to have violated a professional ethics code, and an investigation into the incident has been launched. But none of this has been enough to quell the protests. Demonstrations spread to several major cities including Bandung, Semarang, Yogyakarta, Surabaya, Bali, Medan, and Makassar. In Makassar, 3 people were killed after protesters set fire to a regional parliament building.
Teman-teman mahasiswa atau masyarakat yang ikut berdemo, mohon kiranya tidak sampai anarkis seperti kayak gini.
On August 29th, another man was beaten to death by an angry mob who suspected he was an intelligence officer. Over the weekend, a student died during protests in Yogyakarta. At the same time, looters targeted state buildings and the houses of political party members. Including one owned by Indonesia's finance minister. None of the politicians were home at the time, and some, like lawmaker Ahmad Sahroni, who previously referred to protesters as thugs and the stupidest people in the world, had reportedly left the country.
Kalau ngejarah itu dari gelombang pertama, yaitu yang motor itu 50 sampai 100 motor. Itu boncengan 3 orang sama 2 orang. Gitu. Terus kalau misalnya gelombang kedua itu ya lebih dari 150-an. Kalau yang di bawah itu TV, terus sound system, terus hiasan-hiasan yang di ruang tamu gitu segala macam, cuma gitu doang sih. Terus baju, piring, mangkok.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita sekalian.
President Prabowo has said the political parties have agreed to reverse some state-funded perks for MPs, but he has been vague about the extent of the cuts. But the president also had a firm message for rioters and looters.
Para pimpinan DPR menyampaikan akan dilakukan pencabutan beberapa kebijakan DPR RI, termasuk besaran tunjangan anggota DPR dan juga moratorium kunjungan kerja ke luar negeri. Kepada pihak kepolisian dan TNI, saya perintahkan untuk mengambil tindakan yang setegas-tegasnya terhadap segala macam bentuk pengerusakan fasilitas umum, penjarahan terhadap rumah individu ataupun tempat-tempat umum atau sentra-sentra ekonomi sesuai dengan hukum yang berlaku.
Kepolisian Negara Republik Indonesia dan Tentara Nasional Indonesia akan bersikap tegas terhadap semua hal-hal yang bisa mengganggu keamanan dan ketertiban masyarakat, serta juga bisa mengganggu kedaulatan negara Kesatuan Republik Indonesia.
Even after these statements, the protests continue. This is the biggest challenge to date for Prabowo's government since it took power last October. While it has encountered little to no political opposition, the public is clear about their frustrations and are demanding their concerns be addressed.